Hello YouTube artists, I'm Kelly Hernig and welcome to In the Studio. Last week we saw me put all of my Davinci colors into this beautiful wooden palette, and I've swatched out all of the colors. So this is the first row, this is the back row. So the first row is the one closest to me, the back row is the one to the back. Now, because this is a new palette to me, I wanted to do some mixes to see what I like, what I don't like, what I can use, what I can't use, that kind of thing. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually turn my paper this way, and we're actually gonna mix some colors, and I'm going to just do them this way according to my colors. I've got 4 different colorways. I'm going to start here because I am right-handed, so I can start here and work my way over. I've already poured out some of the mixes here. I am still letting these cure. They're not quite dry, so I just thought I would use fresh paints and do it that way. It's just easier than messing up my new palette while they're still wet. So what I have for this first row is terracotta mixing with Davy's gray. That's going to be first, and then I'm going to go Davy's gray to Denise's green. This is a different Davy's gray for me. I usually like Holbein's. I need to start to understand what the Davinci Davy's gray does for me. It's got a beautiful tone, as you can see here. This is Davy's gray, and I'm hoping that it adds a little bit of this green gray to every color that I mix it with. So let's get going with that. I'm going to bring you just a little bit closer so that you can see me working it. I'm just going to work a half sheet at a time, so I think it'll be okay. I am using the Princeton 10-inch flat shader snap brush. Again, it's the white bristles. It's the one I like to use for whenever I'm doing this kind of color mixing. It just works really well. It doesn't hold a lot of water, which is why I really like it. So I'm going to start with this terracotta. They also call it light red. I need it to have quite a nice puddle there because I will be mixing to it. I need it to have a little bit of water so that it's smooth. I don't want it sticking. There we go. Okay. And this is the pure terracotta color. Now I'm going to slightly pick up a little bit of Davy's gray each time. And all I'm looking for is this to change color just a little bit. You can see it barely changed, so I'm going to add a little bit more. There we went. It got a little duller. I don't know if you saw that. I'm going to add a little more water to this mix too. There we go. A little bit more. Ooh, that's pretty. It just took that shine right off of it. You can see that it's no longer as bright as that one. I am going to splash as well. I splash whenever I'm color mixing because I want to see the lighter values here, and it saves me a step of doing 2 of these. You can see it's dragging a little. I need more water. Wow. I don't know if you can see this. It's kind of going to the green side, which I like. If I forgot to mark my halfway point. This is a pretty color. I'm going to go straight to Davy's gray now. And you can see I probably could have filled all of this with the Davy gray mix. But I want to be able to get 3 colors on here. So there's the Davy's gray by itself. Isn't it beautiful? You can see that it was slowly turning. I really like these darker colors here. That would be great for, like, think of mushrooms or lichen or something in the woods. I think that would be really beautiful. So now what I'm mixing with this is my brightest green on my palette. Well, I shouldn't say brightest because that's mint green, but it's my brightest natural green, which is Denise's green. So let me start with a little bit more Davies, and let's slowly add the green. Again, I'm just looking for a shift. You can see that shifted. Lovely already. Wow. See how that's done to the green? It's lovely. I really like that one. Because this is kind of a bright green. It reminds me of serpentine green of Daniel Smith. And I was hoping that the blue-gray of the Davies would kind of knock it down a little bit. And it did just that. When you feel it start to drag a little bit here, that means it needs more water. Like it kind of almost feels sticky when it needs water. So just make sure that if you feel that dragging or if it's hard to mix, that means add more water. I'm going to rinse my brush out totally and just pick up Denise's green. I want to make sure that I'm getting the start of that color on here. So you see what it looked like and how that dulled. Oops, sorry. Do you see how that looks now and how it dulled it down? That's really, really pretty. That is why I like Davy's Gray, because you can see that it took two bright colors and really dulled them. And these are more of the colors that I would use instead of them as the brighter. My next thing is I added perylene maroon. Remember, I was trying to find that dark red. So on here, I want to see sepia plus perylene red, and I want to see perylene red plus lavender. I don't know what it will do with those colors, but I want to just try them. And perylene red is going to be the color in the middle that I'm mixing both of the colors with. So I'm going to start with sepia. And sepia is my darkest brown. It's a beautiful dark brown. You can see I watered it down too much. Gonna grab some more of that. Much better. Okay, I'm going to touch a little bit of perylene red. I just want to see it turn. You can see I turned it too much. That's better here. I need a little bit of water. That's the hard thing about dark colors is you can't always see them change. So I'm going to go into here now and add a little bit of that. Oh yeah. Look how beautiful that is. You can see the difference there, that it's got like that really blackish kind of brown, and then here it's turning to the red. Ooh, pretty. A little bit more to the mix here. And it's starting to drag, so I need a little bit more water. I'm going to go straight to the perylene red now. Or sorry, perylene maroon. You can see how much brighter this is. Wow. Look at the difference there. Now I'm going to add lavender. So lavender is a duller. It should take the brightness right out of this color right away. Look at that. That is why I love lavender. It's one of those colors that I've had on my palette since I first started. And I just love how it mutes down every color. I'm gonna go just a little bit darker. There we go. I was hoping we would get kind of a violety color. Maybe as we get to the bottom, I don't know. That's why I'm playing, to see what it does. Oh, look at that color. This is one of those colors I'd paint with all the time. Look at that color. Wow. That is like glue on here. It's really sticky. Look at that beautiful color. Now I need lavender right by itself. You can see the big difference there. The next color for this row is perylene green, Titan buff, and indigo. I'm using two of my darkest colors with the Titan buff to see how light I can get them and what they look like when they are really light. So I'm going to try to add more Titan buff than the actual colors. Look at that perylene green. Almost looks like black. That's amazing. So I'm going to add quite a bit of that right now to here. Remember, I want to see it on the lighter side, but not quite that light. So let's add a little bit more of this perylene green here. That's good. Now it's going to get chalkier because I'm using more of the buff titanium, or Titan buff as they call it. I've got quite a bit of green on my brush, so I'm going to rinse that off and just reach for the Titan buff here. Let's see what we can do. Oh yeah, that's better. This is a beautiful color here. Look at that. I want you to look at this color and the Davy's gray right here. This line. They're pretty close. That's interesting. I like finding an alternative. That way if I run out of Davy's gray, I know that this is pretty close. Okay, let's just go with the plain Titan buff now by itself. Look at that. Those are some beautiful greens. I hope it brings me some beautiful blues with the indigo too. I need to put a little bit more Titan buff on there. So now we're going from Titan buff to the dark, so I should have went the opposite way with the perylene green, but I think I did okay. Okay, let's start with some Titan buff here. Just a little list of indigo now. Oh yeah, look at that. That's also really close to the Davy's gray here. It's a little more on the blue. That's a very pretty color. These are the kind of blues I like, almost like the stormy colors. Ooh, look at that one. I'm gonna go a little darker with that one. There we go. Oh, look at that. This is why I like color mixing, because I don't know what colors they're going to come out to until they're there, and then I can fall in love with them or not. Wow. I'm going to go into the straight indigo now. And that was just what I was hoping for out of that line, is that it would take those really rich colors and mute them down to where I would use them. I would use actually anything in this whole row because I really like Davinci's indigo and I love the perylene green. And for the last colors over here, remember I bought sage and amber. And sage and amber, we did a whole little color chart between that and Holbein's yellow gray. But for my sage and amber, I'm going to use stormy blue, which is like a violet blue, and then I'm going to use the quin rose dore, which is more like a kind of corally color. And let's see what that does with that. Okay, I'm going to start with the stormy blue. Okay, this is stormy blue. And this one has a little more violet than the indigo does. I'm going to take a little bit of the sage and amber. You can see it kind of knocked the blue out of it a little bit. It's turning it a little more gray. Pretty. You can see I took too much of that color. It happens every now and then. Let's take a little more of that stormy gray there. Okay, that looks about where we were. Perfect. I don't really know what color this is. I don't know if it's turning into a green or a gray or a brownish. It's very interesting. I'm going to go into the sage now. Sage and amber, just by itself. It's really pretty. Okay, because there you can see it was kind of turning into a green gray, which is really pretty. Now we're going to mix this with the quin color, quin rose dore, and that is a little more corally. So let's see what happens here. I'm just looking for it to change. Oh yeah. I'm hoping for a really pretty orange. Let's see if we can get there. It's changing. It's looking beautiful already. I'm already excited about this color. Wow. Need a little more water. You can see when the line is letting the paper show, it means I need more water. Okay, now just rose dore by itself. I don't know about you, but I'm pretty impressed with this palette. It's going to be fun to play with. It's given me some really beautiful neutrals, some really pretty. Look at the just array of colors in this row alone. I mean, that's gorgeous. Now, I know a lot of you think this is wasted paint, but I want to show you what I do with this while this is drying. So this sheet has to dry. I pour half pans of every color that I put on a palette. This is mostly where I use my paint from. So what I'm gonna do with all of this now is just take a palette knife and actually scoop these up and put them back into my half pans. So like this color here is perylene green. I just need to find the perylene green. And I always double check because I move my colors around. So to me, it does not waste any paint. I will go ahead and do all of that. And when my color mixes are dry, I will come back and show you. I've labeled them all now, and how I did this was the true color here in the middle, I put an X by it so that I wrote stormy blue to sage and amber to quin rose dore, so that I know what the middle color was. That's why there's X's by them. I want to just bring them up so you can see the lovely colors. So this row here is the stormy blue to sage and amber, and then sage and amber down to quin rose dore. Isn't that gorgeous coloration? Right there is a color wheel for you. I love those colors. The next row, remember I was doing the darks mixed with the Titan buff. So the top is the left side. The left side is perylene green to Titan buff to indigo at the bottom. I love how it grayed everything out and just gave them really lovely middle mixes. Remember here, I was trying perylene maroon. So it's sepia to the left to perylene maroon, and then perylene maroon to lavender at the bottom. And I really like how the lavender really took away the bright red of it and turned it a little purple. I like that a lot. I like the sepia colors too. It gives you a nice browns. And then the first one we started with was to see how everything mixed with Davy's gray. So I have terracotta to Davy's gray, and then Davy's gray to Denise's green. Now, I don't know about you, but these colors in the middle here are truly gorgeous to my eye. I've desaturated them enough to where they're going to be really fun to play with. Experimenting like this with mixes lets me understand what these colors will do for me, right? I picked 19 colors for my palette, so now I understand them a little bit more, and I will continue to play and continue to do mixes like this just to give me an idea of the color range. You can see I've got great color range. I mean, this right here, I might even try making a color wheel out of it because I like what it did in between, and I would like to force it to see if I can get a green or if I can get a really violet with this stormy blue and the rose dore to see what those two colors will do with each other. But had I not played with my colors and experimented, I wouldn't know the variations that I can get. When I play like this is what gets me excited about the palette, because it lets me see more than just the colors that I pick to put on the palette. It lets me see beyond that and what they will do with one another. I hope it gets you into your palettes and color mixing all the time, because I feel this brings out the true artist in you, because we are going to find colors that we like. Like, you know, I love muted colors, so I'm trying to find how this will mute that. You know what I mean? Every color you saw, I wanted it to mute somehow. That's why I chose the colors that I did. Where if you're a bright painter, you're going to find ways to make brighter colors, more vibrant colors, more intense colors. So instead of taking a Davy's gray here, maybe you're going to use that nickel titanate or the yellow ochre to see what this green and what this terracotta does with that, just to brighten it. So know that I'm showing you how to mute things, but I want you to follow your path. So if you are liking lighter colors and you paint a lot of flowers, I want you to take those bright colors and see what they will do for you. Because until you start playing with them and really understanding what a limited palette does for you, I just think your art becomes a little stagnant. It's those mixes that makes your art unique. And I want you to take chances, feel brave, have courage. You have my permission to play, so do it. Don't just be stuck with, I have to use it from the tube, because that's boring. Everyone could do that. It's when we find the mixes that we truly love, like these two here, or these limited areas here. I mean, when you find those colors and they just make you smile, and now I'm excited to, like, what can I do with this? Maybe I need to try a landscape, adding this coloration, some greens in there, just to see how they will react with one another. When you start creating your own colors, your style emerges, and that's what I want. I want you to find those colors that just make you happy, that make you smile, that bring you joy. So when you are putting paint to paper, it is worthwhile to you and not just another tutorial that you're following. Make it your own, play with color, and just experiment. I mean, that's what the whole world of watercolor is about, is experimentation and finding what works for you and what doesn't. If you were inspired by today's color mixing, please let me know in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please click the button. And as always, thanks for watching.